All right. So first things first on this, this whole slide will be based on this video. I wanted you to see how all of these could be entered into the TI-84. So, and some things, pieces of advice I wanted to give you. So this is the simplest radical form for each of one of our solutions for part A and B. Obviously, this is part A, this is part B. The difference here, and then also you have the decimal equivalents down here on the right. But I wanted you to be aware of what I did here so you could protect yourself against some bad answers. So notice I put parentheses around the -3 plus the square root of 21, and then I closed it. That way the order of operations would take place, then divide by 2 at the end. I did the same thing here with negative, and I also want to remind you, on a calculator, on a TI, you have to use the negative button down here at the bottom. You see me circling it. Okay. So -3 minus root 21. So you'll notice that what I did is I protected the numerator on each one of these so that it wouldn't do an order of operations error. Let me show you what happens when you have an order of operations error. We'll just do the last one. So if I just put in 7 minus second square root of 193, and then when you do this, you do have to come out from under that radical so it doesn't do anything weird. Then I did divide by 6. Watch the answer. Completely different, okay? And this one, this 4.6845 whatever, is completely wrong because I need to protect, remember, order of operations, parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication and division left to right, then addition and subtraction left to right. So you got to do the parentheses first, protect that numerator by putting parentheses around it. All right. Now, let me go back. So we have talked about, I've already showed you what those answers are, but let me show you another way of figuring it out. I've gone to y equals. I have both of these equations in here right now. I'm only worried about this one right now because we're going to go talk about how to find the decimal equivalents of those radicals just by using the graph. So I'm going to hit graph. All right, and now you see it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to calculate my zeros. See this? It's not nice and neat on there, which also tells you why we had simplest radical form and why we had decimals. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit second calc, which is like the trace button, okay? Second trace. And then I'm looking at my menu here, and I want 2 because I want to find the zeros. And you see my cursor over here flashing. I'm going to scroll over to where I'm a little to the left, or in this case, above the x-axis. See, I'm at 0.7 here for the y. I'm going to hit enter. That changes it from left bound to right bound, and now I'm going to go below. You can see I have a negative here, so now I'm technically below. And I'm going to hit enter again, and it gives rid of right bound, and it gives me guess. Then I'm going to hit enter. And that's exactly the decimal that we came up with earlier, -3.79. And I rounded it to -3.79, which is a good place to round it given what's following it. Okay, now we need to find the other zero. Okay, so second trace button, which says calc above it. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Then hit 2 again. And then we're going to scroll all the way to the other side. Again, it's to the left, which in this case is a little bit below. And see how I'm at a -0.8 here? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter here because I'm pretty close. Okay, and then I'm going to go above, and it's 0.55, so I'm going to hit enter again. Notice I'm now at a guess point. And that's exactly what we came up with. It's 0.79 for our other answer. Okay, so that takes care of that graph. Now let's go to the other y equals. And this is also helpful for you to know. As long as this equals is highlighted in black, that means the graph is going to be graphed. But if you don't want to graph it, it's a little different than Desmos, then you can highlight it, hit enter, and it changes it. Then you can scroll down to the other equation, do the same thing, hit enter, and now it will graph the other equation. All right, so, and you can see that because if I move away, see how it's black, highlighted in black. So now I'm going to hit graph. And we're going to see the other graph. Notice I don't see the bottom of the parabola. At this point, that doesn't matter because we are just trying to find out what the zeros are. We're just trying to figure out where the intercepts are at x. And again, we've already shown you those answers on that first part of the screen, but let's show you how to do it with the calculator again, because this is going to be hugely helpful for those people that are going to be moving on, taking SATs, go to pre-calc. Things like that. The more you know how to use this Texas Instrument calculator, the better, because they're not going to let you use Desmos on an online test. Pretty much can tell you that. And they're also not going to let you use Desmos in class. Most teachers won't, because it's just so tempting to go and find answers other places. So let's figure out how to find this left zero. So let's, again, second, trace, which is also the calc button. I'm going to go to 2. I'm going to hit enter. Well, I'm not going to hit enter. I'm going to scroll. I'm going to go look and find. I got to find my, oh, there's my cursor. Sometimes you have to go find it. So when you're looking for it, look at the values down here. And when you know y is getting close to 0, then you know you're in a good spot. All right, so we're to the left, again, of the x-axis. It's above in this case, but it's a left bound, as you can see here, left bound. So they're thinking from negative infinity to positive infinity. And so this is left of what the 0 would be. So let's hit enter. Then I'm going to scroll down, so I'm a little below the y-axis. And that takes me down to this negative 1.2, so I'm good. So I'm going to hit enter again, because right now I'm at my right bound. Once I did that, the left and right bound are taken. Now there's going to be a guess. So I hit enter one more time. And that is the correct answer, because when I rounded this, it's negative 1.15. That is what I put down for my answer. Now we need to find one more 0. So second trace button, again, second calc. And you're scrolling down to 2. You don't even need to scroll. You can just hit 2. Then you can take that little cursor, and when it goes down below the screen where you can see it, just look at the y value, and you can tell when it's starting to come back up. So it isn't yet, but it will. So here it is. Here it comes. All right. Again, it's to the left, to the left, to the left. Sorry. I have students that do that to me all the time. Let's see if I can get close. No, negative 2 is as close as I can get. So I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to hit right. Okay, good. I'm above the y-axis or the x-axis now, so I'm going to hit enter again. And it's going to give me my guess. And there's my answer. 3.48 is definitely what the other 0 was. So you now have the decimal and you have the simplest radical form in your answers. So hopefully you understood that, and hopefully this little calculator explanation helped you as well, because it's just hugely important to understand how to use the TIs. All right, let's go one more time. I'm going to go to second quit, and you can see where all our answers are that we had. This one, of course, is wrong. So we can go up and find our last one. So this is all 4 of the answers. Simplest radical and decimal. Remember, put parentheses around your numerator. And that ends this little bit of a long video, but lots of learning involved in it. Thanks.